Now, you're receiving me as is, without any doctoring or editing, or makeup or hairdoing. So I'm fresh back from a walk, and it comes from a heartfelt place. And it comes from a place of infinite peace. It has nothing to do with Alex or a personal me. It's the place biblically, which is described as the peace that surpasses all understanding. It has nothing to do with mental clinging. It has nothing to do with an individual mental identity. And although we may associate this phrase biblically, we want to understand that it has nothing to do with a religion or being a Christian or identification with a belief system. It has to do with operation, allowing the physical vessel to be operated by a guidance system which surpasses mental understanding. As I've attempted to convey numerous times on this channel, there is an awareness that is beyond the body and mind, and thus it is beyond time. It is limitless and changeless, and it is not subject to linear thinkingness in the linear 5-sensory 3-dimensional reality, which we call earthly, which is simultaneously our home, but there is also a home which feels much closer to our being, that is beyond the 5-sensory reality. And it's often difficult to convey verbally with linear language, because embedded within that language is a time sequence, and this awareness is beyond all subjective identification with past and with future, with anticipation and projection onto the future and remembrance of the past. It has to do with a precise keenness of attention in this moment now. It's the only place where the living God is found, here and now. And we can say that that is enlightenment, right? But there's no person to claim it. Because a person that says I'm enlightened, that's nonsense. Because it has to do when that personal self-image is absent. It has to do with being completely here and now in the present moment. That is enlightenment. It's when the truth animates the physical vessel without an individual mental identity claiming that it is the vessel. It has to do with an emptiness of that self-image. But there's a simultaneous wholeness, because there's a joyous sense of connectedness with all of reality when there's that humility, which is inborn. It's not something someone can claim that and as an individual, am humble, because it's only normal and natural to simply sit in the nowness of the joyous presence that is existence, that is the source of our awareness. This energy and awareness go hand in hand, and as we embody and value, we value this energy within us and thus embody it. It'll rise up within us, and we'll be clear in our awareness, in our discernment, and we'll be completely present. Nobody will be able to take us out of the presence, no matter what they say or do. You know, someone getting on here publicly and conveying their seeming personality opens themselves up to a lot of seeming negative energy. But as you live in purity, you will purify reality. You'll be led by this guidance system, which is beyond a personal me, which is beyond personal thinkingness and desiringness and cravingness. You won't consume this out of desiring. Consuming won't be out of desiring. or needing or having, but out of choosing. You won't feel like you have to continue surviving, but it'll be from a place of choosing, because you have something that wants to share. You have something. You have a body and mind that wants to share itself with others who you don't really see as others, because you feel that you are them. The same presence that animates your intelligence animates them and all of existence. And true love is self-sacrificial. It's biblical. That's the biblical love. It's self-sacrificial. It has to do with putting others before oneself. It has to do with beyond personal desires and, mere continuation of a personal existence, of a seeming personal existence, and self-perpetuation. It has to do with the nowness of creation, and receiving others in this moment without projecting any past onto them, without saying, oh, they did this, and remembering something that they did previously and associating it with present reality now, which has nothing to do with their present personality. It's the presence is beyond a personality, but it simultaneously seeks to animate itself through a personality so that it can convey verbally itself, so it can express its own essence as an expression of existence. It's a place of infinite peace. It's a place of silence. It's a place of our beingness. It's a place which there is no seekingness, because there is no individual to seek, because all is here. The truth is manifest and is in and as us when there's the absence of seekingness. And there's even no personal meanness to surrender itself, because it's already surrendered. It's already surrendered to this present moment. There is no personal self-image to conceive of the future or plan it. There's no individual to surrender, and there's no conception of oneself to feel better. There's no clinging to survival. The physical vessel will continue to survive so long as the presence which animates us allows it. It has nothing to do with a person that wants to grab it and control and cling to reality, because we view everything here preciously as it exists now, presently. There's no personal desire to cling it and grab at reality and consume it unconsciously, because consumption is not out of compulsion. It's a conscious process. We don't feel like we have to do this. There's no clinging to life. There's no attachment to life. But simultaneously, there's no desire to leave the physical body, because all is here now. There's no desire to enjoy it. There's no attachment to it. And there's no desire to leave it, because the best of both worlds is and operates as us and through us right here and now. We can enjoy this play of light and sound without getting entangled in it and caught up in it, without attachment. A fool doesn't enjoy it, right? We can enjoy it without getting caught up in it. But the bigger fool not only doesn't enjoy it, but they take it so seriously. They think that this 5-sensory 3D reality is all that there is. And I'm here to convey this, that there is a spiritual reality that we can simultaneously embody well in this reality and be beyond the body. And it may not make sense logically. I understand this. It is what it is. I'm trying to convey it. That's what this channel's about. Trying to convey different vibrations, different states of being, to say, hey, that you're not limited to an individualized, concretized personality. It's flexible and fluid. And you can embody this fluidity and thus enjoy this reality wholeheartedly from a surrendered state, not clinging to a past identity and saying that's a personal me, because I can get on here and say, and I'm not making it about me, I can get on here and say anything, and there's no me looking back on it and saying, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or that was a mistake, or somebody's going to interpret it this way, or whatever it is, because other people can only create situations. But whether you choose to suffer it or not, that's your choice. You don't have to choose to suffer even a past choice that you did this or said this or made this mistake. You don't have to, because it has nothing to do with now. Again, where the only place the living God is found. It's beyond that personal, mental, we can say, slave technology, where there's a mental tendency to want to cling to reality. And even the place of peace, which I spoke about initially. There's no personal me to say that I'm at peace, I'm peaceful, because it's the place of true I amness, of awareness, is beyond I am. It's beyond an individual I-ness, a me-ness, right? It's the presence of awareness, which is, we can say, a groovingness with all of existence, where there's no individual thought interference between one seeming oneself in the presence, which encompasses all of existence. Peace which surpasseth all understanding, is all encompassing and all pervading. When you exist in this place of being, there is no preference, because you see everything equally from an equal eye. And that's not saying that there's no discernment, that there's not saying, hey, as we purify the world, this environment of negative energies and frequencies, of lower vibrations, as we seek to have this intent in creation, as actually it's beyond intention, because we're surrendered and we allow this guidance system to animate our intelligence and animate the physical vessel, so that it says, hey child, go to this place, go to that place, here is this synchronicity, you're on the right path, I see your willingness to do whatever it takes. And thus, me, as the presence, as grace, I'm going to continue to animate you and show you and guide you and lead you and direct you and protect you. And this unseen hand operates to and through us, through this internal guidance system, which again is beyond a belief system. It's beyond logic, and therefore it's often difficult to convey via words, via reason, because it's another dimension altogether. It's even beyond intention, because there's no personal me to intend. It's life's plan for us. It's life's intention for us, which we're simply here, surrendered to the presence, allowing that intention and plan that life has for us to guide us. And it doesn't make sense to people who are clinging to reality and are operating out of survival-based, fear-based thinking, because it's a whole nother dimension. And to try to explain something via vibration, which is ultimately beyond vibration and beyond vibratory creation, to somebody who is constantly thinking in terms of self-preservation and consumption and operating out of compulsion, to try to explain something beyond that dimension to them is often difficult. And one may sound crazy. And again, I get on here and open myself up publicly, fully knowing that some people are going to call me crazy. Somebody told me recently that I've gone off the rails. And that's okay. They can think that. They can project that. But I choose not to have that effect on myself. What really inspired this video, I was in a state where just enwrapped in that presence, that embrace of the presence. But somebody drove by me as I was on the walk, stopped, and they were saying that they were on the way to meet somebody, and not that details matter, but just to give you a little bit of context and background of what inspired me to make this, because otherwise I wouldn't be making it, because it got the thoughts going and flowing as I was walking, and otherwise it would have been another blissful Buddha day where there's really no thinking. But anyway, this person stopped and they were telling me that they were on the way to see somebody who, somebody's dying, and it's my grandfather and my mother who stopped, who's on way to see my grandmother to help console her because she's distraught, mentally distraught, that, this human being that she's been with for, over 60 years, somewhere around there, is on his deathbed. So she's going to comfort her. And she was saying, yeah, I owe it to her because she's brought me a lot of peace in times where I was like, hold that thought. She never brought you peace, because that peace is always with you. Whatever's going on in the body or mind, that's subject to time, and that's limited. And it has to do with an individual person and a self-conception and a self-image. But the peace, which is the root and which animates that thinkingness, which is silence beyond it, is always with us, is always with you. So don't give credit to her for giving you peace. Don't feel like you owe her. There's no record keeping or bookkeeping here. This love is unconditional. Don't feel like you owe it to her to go and console her, but doing it out of place of unconditionalness. Not because you claim that she gave you peace, because that peace is always with you, nevertheless. It's a place beyond conditions. There's no self-image to say, this one deserves my love and that one doesn't. And I owe it to this one and that one I couldn't care less about. Because the presence is simultaneous within both of them. There is no separation. And that's the intention that life has for this one. To convey, to break through the veil, the artificial barrier of seeming separation with creation. To say, hey, that all of us exist here simultaneously in this three-dimensional reality as we're animated by the presence in the present, which is beyond this reality. We can be the best of both worlds, and we can enjoy this harmonious creation and bring harmony to reality through a personality without identifying with it, without being subject to it, without attachment. There's no attachment to life or existence or aversion to it. There's no preference for life or death because we are aware beyond life and death. We are pure awareness. So we allow this energy to store up and build up and rise within us and exist as this from a place of transcendence. We can enjoy this reality, this profound, abundant, and alive energy, Divine Mother Shakti, the Kundalini energy, which is expressing itself as manifestation, but simultaneously beyond creation. We can bring that transcendence, that grace into this reality, and there's no person to do it because the guidance, that grace does it through you. There's no person to take credit. You're simply a channel. I say I am. I am simply a channel. You are. There is no difference between I and you. We want to feel this. We don't want to think we understand it mentally. You know, that may be the first step initially, but ultimately we want to be this. We want to be this profound connectedness and be this simple, surrendered, humble awareness, which is simply lovingly, unconditionally here in the nowness of reality, without a self-image present, without saying, hey, I gotta go get, I gotta consume this, I gotta do this, I gotta be this, something other than where I'm at now, because it's only in this place of permanent contentedness in the presence that we can allow it to guide us, and it'll animate our doingness, and thus future beingness, which will be a place of permanence, permanent contentment, which is beyond all personal attachment. Love you guys. Goes without being said. I said that to my mother too. I said, you know I hardly ever say it. I hardly ever say I love you to you or grandmother or anybody, because it goes without being said. It's something that doesn't need to be said. It's a state of being. Oftentimes we may say I love you so much to someone that it loses its meaning, because it's not in the words. It's in the feeling, beyond the words. It's in the being that is simultaneous with the feeling. And that's the basis for the thinking. When there is no difference between being and feeling and thinking and doing. That's when we're in harmony, where we can bring a harmonious frequency to purify and uplift this reality, to be a betterment to humanity. Because our frequency is so tight that it shatters the negative and lower entities and energies which are negatively affecting humanity. You'll be guided to act. And that love will manifest through you and around you. Not because you intend to, but because that's life's plan for you. And there's nothing that can stop it. Because it's beyond prediction. No one can predict it. Even yourself as a self-image can't predict it. I can't tell you how many times I've been surprised. Wow. Thank you for another synchronicity, Lord. Thank you for this. Thank you for allowing this video to express through Alex today. Your will is done. I didn't wake up and plan this. It's done on earth as it is in heaven. I say earth and look up to the sky. Heaven and look down at the ground. There is no difference. It's here now. Heaven and the Lord are not somewhere off in the distant future. They're within you right now. So surrender to life's plan for you. You don't need me to tell you. It's already guiding you. Just gotta be receptive to it and open to it. I mean, do this when we as a personal me surrender an individual self-image or mental identity. And ultimately will perpetually be in that place where there is no one to surrender itself, because it's already surrendered. Or you're that continuous awareness which is always acting from and guided by the presence. As we express in existence, all expression from oneself is itself the essence. There is no difference. And it's a place of bliss and continuous happiness. Because it's not conditional. It's not contingent upon a personal individual. As I, as an individual, am all of this. All of us. Thus there is no difference. There is no I-ness. So I say I, I'm talking about the life force, the energy which animates all of us, the awareness which is us. God bless.